A sunny morning in January involved repeated sets of squats with a 275-pound barbell. Mr. Piker approaches getting dressed with the same meticulousness that he does working out. Each day he streams, he typically posts a selfie of his outfit before... What is this article? Yeah, I feel like I'm reading someone's private goon session right now.
In all of the popularity that you get, there are going to be people that, for example, come to you and say, oh, I guess you love Hamas then. And in that moment, you can't yield, okay? If push came to shove in that regard, AOC 100%, I can see her being like, no, I hate Hamas. Hamas is the most condemnable force on the planet.
God forbid that AOC say that she hates Hamas or condemns them. God forbid. That would be giving the libs an inch. You can't give the libs an inch. Otherwise, they'll take a mile, guys. All right, let's read this article. Let's be educated liberals and actually read the article. By Jack Crosby. First of all, is this person on Twitter? What kind of poster are they? Wrote an article about the consultant class back in April. Some scenes from inside the protest movement. Covered the protest movement. Had a really good time a few weeks ago on Apple News with blah, 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 talking about Dana White, Donald Trump, and how the UFC now rules America. I wrote about Atlanta's Stop Cop City movement, which is a test case for repression in the second Trump administration. No-knock raids, brutal charges, lengthy detentions. I think this person is like super progressive. I could be wrong. Just glancing at their feed. I'm just going to have an aneurysm reading this. Hopefully not. That doesn't sound pleasant. Hasan Piker thinks being a man is simple. Like many of the successful internet personalities who appeal to a generation of younger men, Mr. Piker, a 33-year-old Twitch and YouTube streamer, is a bro. He likes weapons, inhales supplements, uses nicotine pouches, and ruminates endlessly on the legacy of LeBron James. But unlike many of his contemporaries, Mr. Piker, an avowed socialist, is just as at ease dressing in French-made drag as he is on a basketball court. In the 6 years since he started doing his daily online broadcasts about culture and politics, Mr. Piker has become a streaming star. He has about 4.5 million followers combined on YouTube and Twitch. The platform wildly popular with Americans who came of age during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the most reductive way, it just comes down to confidence. That's what people are talking about when it comes to masculinity, Mr. Piker said in an interview. They're talking about confidence. That confidence carries over into Mr. Piker's discussion of politics. On his streams, conversations about dating, gaming, or exercise often turn into rants supporting organized labor, universal health care, or LGBTQ rights. He will just as frequently pivot from criticizing the Democratic Party or the Israeli government to slamming right-wing comedians. This fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Mr. Piker a Joe Rogan of the left. If Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. Are people actually saying this about Hasan? Who's saying that he's a Joe Rogan of the left? I don't know if I've heard people talk about like, we need a Joe Rogan of the left, but you know, Hasan's an enormous streamer. Let's be clear about that. He's an enormous streamer, but he's nowhere close to Rogan in terms of viewership. Not even close, man. So if we're going to have a Joe Rogan of the left, it should be, I mean, honestly, like Midas Touch right now is like the Joe Rogan of the left, right? Like Mr. Piker's success on camera in some part has been aided by the fact that he is by conventional standards, a very handsome man. He is 6'4" tall and built like a professional athlete with a square jaw and a beard and a head of thick, dark hair. What are we reading right now? I feel like I'm blushing reading this right now. It kind of reads like fan fiction, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right about that. It's the one aspect that many of my haters can't shake, Mr. Piker said of his appearance in a Twitch broadcast last year. They can't turn around and be like, you're not hot. I'm just wondering what the response to that would have been if that was a woman that had said that. I don't know if maybe it's a joke, like maybe they're like joking around and it's not like being translated in the article that we're reading right now, but what does this have to do with anything? His physique is a result of an intense fitness regimen that, on A sunny morning in January involved repeated sets of squats with a 275-pound barbell, Romanian deadlifts, and walking lunges. It's ironic because, like, a lot of those Sigma grind set guys are constantly talking about regimens and being an alpha dog, Mr. Piker said, referring to subjects of memes about masculinity that are commonplace in right-wing discourse online. I do live that life, he added, but then I have the diametrically opposed politics. Indeed, tens of thousands of viewers may watch his videos for his political views, but many also tune in for the view of Mr. Piker himself, whose social media profiles are littered with suggestive images of his muscly body in states of undress, or thirst traps, as the pictures are known. Some of his fans scrape, screenshot, clip, and repackage them into fan cams that travel across the internet, glorifying Mr. Piker's appearance and indirectly his beliefs. Emma Morgan, a 27-year-old researcher, is among them. A lot of people are just really shallow online, Miss Morgan said. There's a stigma of if you care about marginalized people, if you care about these issues, you must be a weak basement-dwelling dude. If I have to make a fan cam to radicalize people, she added, then I will. Mr. Piker approaches getting dressed with the same meticulousness that he does working out. Each day he streams, he typically posts a selfie of his outfit before... What is this article? What is this article? I thought we were going to be reading about, like, politics. What are we reading right now? This is crazy. Yeah, I feel like I'm reading someone's private goon session right now. That's what it feels like. No, Gassy, this is like I think we call it a puff piece, not a fan piece. But this is a fluff piece. Yeah. This is a fluffer piece. I like that. That's good. That's a good play on words. Author is a photojournalist, according to his website. We looked at his Twitter account. He seems like a pretty progressive person. It's just, okay. Mr. Piker approaches getting dressed with the same meticulousness as he does working out. Each day he streams. He typically posts a selfie of his outfit before he starts. His clothing choices can sometimes be as provocative as his opinions. On a recent trip to Japan, Mr. Piker wore a tight French maid's outfit, a pair of fuzzy cat ears, and a demure string of pearls while streaming from one of the country's maid cafes. During a Twitch stream in 2023, Mr. Piker asked viewers to participate in a live demographic survey. Those who did offered a sense of his audience. About 70% of participants identified as male. More than 60% identified as being younger than 30. And about 40% identified as having a sexual orientation other than straight. Okay, now I'm so curious about my audience. Oh man, I'm so curious. Okay, hold on. Let's I don't know, YouTube, I don't know how to do polls on YouTube. Let's just do age. I think my prime demographic now is like 25 to 35. How old are you? As I suspected, it's like 26 to 35 is the prime demographic here. It's also the biggest demographic. You're right to point that out. Mr. Piker benefits from jock insurance, said Tristan Bridges, a sociologist who studies masculinity and gender at the University of California, Santa Barbara. The term is used to describe how men with a lot of masculine gender capital are generally given more leeway to do things like challenge norms and make mistakes. The jocks are allowed to break the rules and not have consequences for it, Mr. Bridges said, adding that Mr. Piker's idea of masculinity was less rigid than more traditional versions centered on the belief that America was easier and better when everybody played the roles that they were designed to play. Jordan Dean, a 19-year-old gender student who follows Mr. Piker, said that the part that he plays up the most, the most is definitely that he's a bro, cisgender heterosexual white guy. Mr. Dean, a transgender man, added, watching him be comfortable painting his nails, wearing dresses, it's not revolutionary things, but he's showing that it's okay to be a cis guy and experiment with gender presentation. Gains, guns, and gay culture. Mr. Piker typically streams from a studio at his home in West Hollywood, California, a modern townhouse he shares with Kaya, his Bernese mountain dog mix that weighs more than 100 pounds. Does he not also like, and I'm not saying this to like denigrate him, but doesn't he not also live with his mom? Doesn't his mom live with him in that home? I feel like that's established, right? Like, why would that not be in the article? He can spend up to 10 hours a day recording in his studio where there are no fewer than 10 swords and shelves festooned with video game art and other knickknacks. There's also a black assault rifle, which Mr. Piker was quick to note was fake. It's airsoft, he said. I like guns, but I would never keep one in the house. While Mr. Rogan's podcasts typically feature interviews with guests that meander into politics, Mr. Piker often approaches this topic alone on solo streams, though he has recorded with the likes of Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. Last year, he streamed from the Democratic National Convention. Mr. Piker disagrees with the comparisons to Mr. Rogan and has characterized what each does as completely different. Well, he's right about that. I feel like I saw a clip of like a couple clips of Hasan recently where he was talking mad shit about AOC. He was talking about Israel. This clip is actually kind of nuts.
In all of the popularity that you get, there are going to be people that, for example, come to you and say, oh, I guess you love Hamas then. And in that moment, you can't yield, okay? And I feel like if push came to shove in that regard, AOC 100%, I can see her being like, no, I hate Hamas. Hamas is the most condemnable force on the planet.
God forbid that AOC say that she hates Hamas or condemns them. God forbid. That would be giving the libs an inch. You can't give the libs an inch. Otherwise, they'll take a mile, guys.
Need to go away, and I will vote for every bill that says we need to kill more Hamas. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that she wouldn't dance around that and basically offer a major victory that basically says, yeah, I'm in the wrong, and I'm sorry for ever criticizing Israel.
I'm sorry. Was the discourse for months not like them making a meme of "Do you condemn Hamas?" And the whole joke or the innuendo or the joke was that, of course, we condemn Hamas. Okay, it's racist for you to even ask that question. Like, oh, you think that because I'm Arab or Muslim, you think that means I automatically support? Wasn't that like the main crux of that whole thing of like rolling your eyes when people ask you if you condemn Hamas? And then here he is, you know, some months later, basically saying like, don't condemn Hamas. Like, don't, when they try to bait you into condemning Hamas, don't do it. And also claiming that, you know, AOC would fall for this trap, you know, like basically her politics are not radical enough for their movement, or his movement rather, which is just another kind of, I mean, that just serves as a reminder yet again that these people will never have a meaningful political movement. Like they'll just never, if the online left cannot find an ally in AOC, I mean, they're just, you know, his particular form of socialism or leftism or political advocacy or political engagement is forever relegated to the, you know, to obscurity. You know, like he has a ton of fans, you know, he does very well for himself. He has like a ton of viewers, but how effective of a coalition are they actually? Like how much power do they actually have versus how much power they could have? Like if people like Hasan could find it in him to form a reliable coalition with, say, like liberal voters, he would get so much more done. They would directly assist in getting so much progress actually done. I feel like people like Hasan and his audience are the reason why Democrats typically will attack the center in elections, because they feel like the center are gettable voters, and the audience that Hasan is speaking to, they're really difficult to like get, because in order to get them, you have to, I guess, apparently not condemn Hamas. And at that point, that's a very small percentage of the country that, you know, would refuse to condemn Hamas, for example. I get frustrated because there's so much potential. There's so much potential. When we look at online movements and how they have impacted politics and policy, kind of crazy. Steve Bannon himself referenced Gamergate in the early days of MAGA when they were crafting Trump's first campaign. Back in 2015, 2016, how would they run that campaign? What kind of voters would they target? Bannon took inspiration from Gamergate, this online movement of people that had very strong opinions about something that was really culturally salient at the time. And they were able to, I would argue, they were able to successfully turn that into a political movement. Like they moved from this culture thing to something else. And so when you see the level of engagement that Hasan has, which is really remarkable and impressive, like there's no doubt about that. Like, say what you will about Hasan, you can't talk shit about his work ethic. Like, it's crazy. Like, this guy, his work ethic is actually insane. And he's managed to build an enormous audience, the size of which 99.99% of creators won't even come close to touching. You know, that's a really impressive thing. And what frustrates me is the potential of that. Like, you could turn that into a vehicle for something that could promote actual change. Like, you could be an effective force at stymieing Republican efforts all over the country. Like, imagine if you just activated that audience. I feel like he has so much influence. Like, people like Hasan, or I'll just speak specifically about him, like his fan base, it's like very cult of personality kind of stuff. Like, he is very influential in these people's minds. If he turned around and turned the numbers that he has and the sort of like following that he has into some kind of actual mobilization in an electoral capacity, he could actually like literally directly impact not just national races, but races all over the country. But instead he does this like, oh, I'll bet you AOC would fall into this trap of condemning Hamas. And it's like, bro, come on. Jesus Christ. If you tried to activate them, they wouldn't be his audience anymore. His appeal is that you get to feel holier than thou without actually doing anything. I mean, maybe for some of them, but I do think he could activate a lot of people in his audience to take elections seriously, to take the threat of the Republican Party seriously. I think he could be tremendously influential in that way. His marathon stream sessions are fueled partly by cartons of Zins, cans of Diet Dr. Pepper, and energy drinks. Mr. Piker, who fasts daily as a part of his fitness routine, usually consumes only coffee until around 2 p.m. when he has his first meal of precisely 1.1 pounds of roasted chicken breasts with low-carb pita, meze, and sauces. He says his persona is built upon authentic interests in fitness, culture, style, and politics that he has had throughout his life. Mr. Piker was in a fraternity at Rutgers University, yes, but he also has been a lifelong gamer and anime fan. He moved to the Los Angeles area in 2013 after graduating from Rutgers University and telling his parents, both college professors, that he intended to apply to law school. Instead, he got a job in ad sales at the Young Turks, a progressive news network founded by his uncle, pundit Cenk Uygur. Mr. Piker does not deny that he is a Nepo baby, he said. A perfect society is one in which those types of advantages don't matter. By 2016, he was regularly appearing in videos on the Young Turks social media accounts. He started streaming on Twitch 2 years later. Fashion, he said, is something he has loved since he was a too-big teen growing up in Turkey, where he inhaled American culture through TV shows like The Boondocks. I thought his dad was like a super wealthy businessman, wasn't he?
This sucks, man.
His dad was a politician and a businessman. Hasan Piker was born to Turkish parents in New Brunswick, New Jersey, but grew up in Istanbul and was raised as a Muslim. His father's family immigrated to Turkey from Thessaloniki and Crete, Greece. His father, Mehmet Beset Piker, is a political scientist and economist who served on the board of directors and as vice president of Sabancı Holding, who is a founding member of the Future Party in Turkey. His mother, Ülker Sedef Piker, is an art and architectural historian teaching at the New Jersey Institute of Technology. I mean, I guess it's possible that his dad is also a journalist, but it seems kind of strange to frame him as a journalist when he served on the board of directors as, what is this, like a hedge fund? What is this? Is an industrial and financial conglomerate with headquarters in Istanbul, Turkey. The company's primary activities are in financial services, energy, cement, retail, and industrial sectors. Like, to frame him as just a professor doesn't seem like super accurate. It seems to omit like some pretty crucial details there. Mr. Piker, who is straight, is aware that wearing pearls and painting his nails can suggest otherwise, inviting attention from gay men. Last year, when a gay content creator asked Mr. Piker if he was an ally in an interview at a Pride event in Los Angeles, he jokingly said no, then playfully added, "I'm a foe." Mr. Piker then spanked the interviewer, who was wearing an American flag Speedo swimsuit, in front of a bus emblazoned with the logo for Grindr, the gay dating app. Of this image, he said, "I don't feel the need to present myself in any way that I am not." The fuck are we reading, dude? Mr. Piker is similarly unfiltered with his viewpoints. Some can be extreme. Some can be extreme. Some can be extreme. What is this article? He is a tanky. So like the whole framing here is just whatever. A vocal critic of U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, Mr. Piker has been labeled anti-American by people across the political spectrum for saying the country deserved the September 11th attacks. He has been labeled anti-American. His recent accusations that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza and his diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters of Israel, including liberals like Representative Richie Torres of New York, to call Mr. Piker anti-Semitic. Quote, "I find anti-Semitism to be completely unacceptable," Mr. Piker said on a call in April. "I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous." His video streams are peppered with expletives, vulgarities, and other language that many have disavowed in the name of political correctness. He blocks commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when he challenges. No! Come on, who wrote this? He blocks commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when they challenge his views on topics like transgender rights or the war in Gaza. Some have accused him of sharing misinformation on streams, but Mr. Piker says his aim is to provide factual information along with his own views. This idea that he welcomes criticism is just so insane to me, because he presents as like one of the more fragile kind of streamers. I get stun locked sometimes. Every streamer I think probably gets a little stun locked, or most streamers get stun locked from time to time, and we can be a bit sensitive. You know, I'm not above all that, but this idea that he's this guy that just welcomes free and open criticism and engages in the criticism in good faith is just kind of crazy to me. John Favreau, a founder of the center-left podcast Pod Save America and its liberal parent company Crooked Media, said Mr. Piker's willingness to engage with viewpoints outside his own was another trait that might appeal to young men who had swung toward the right. He wants to reach those people too. His willingness to engage with viewpoints outside his own. Really? Here's something I will admit. I'm a little bit out of my depth when it comes to Hasan. I don't watch a lot of his content. Like a lot of the times he shows up on my feed in really bite-sized clips. Like I don't watch a lot of his stuff. So maybe I'm missing a lot from but for example, did he have public conversations with people that have like a two-state solution, or people that don't think that Israel shouldn't exist? Did he have regular conversations with people who were not committed to his like one-state solution, for example? Does he regularly engage with right-wingers, for that matter? Does he regularly engage in debate with right-wingers that come on his show? He spoke to AOC and Bernie and didn't bring up the topic. I mean, just in chat. I mean, that's not really like I know he's had a conversation with Asmongold. I know he's had a conversation with like Banks, but does he regularly engage with people? Like, let's say, like, does he regularly engage with like liberals, for example? Tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels like in terms of who he brings on to have conversations with, it seems like a sort of like an ideological circle jerk. Like it's usually people that are ideologically aligned with him, which is to say like socialists, like actual leftists. That's true. He did debate like a 16-year-old Israeli last year. That's true. He talked to WillyMac for like 45 minutes, like a couple years ago. But I feel like in that conversation, he was expecting that WillyMac was like kind of like a lightweight. And I felt like WillyMac was like, who's not super seasoned when it comes to debate. I felt like WillyMac was pretty prepared for that conversation he had with him. Elf Boy with $5. I've seen less glaze and a Krispy Kreme than in this article. True. But the way Mr. Piker presents himself could work against him, said Reese Peck, a professor of media culture at the College of Staten Island and the author of Fox Populism, branding conservatives as working class. Quote, he's more events in Soho than he is Eastern Kentucky, Mr. Peck put it. That's bi-coastal, stylish, hip masculinity has its limitations to appeal to a broad array of young men, especially working class young men. Clancy Campbell, a 20-year-old fan of Mr. Piker's, who is studying to become an esthetician, said the difference between Mr. Piker and his right-leaning counterparts could be boiled down to the amount of care and where you put it. Quote, with the right-wing media and stuff, they care almost too much about issues that don't matter. He said, with Hasan, it's like he cares, but in the right places. Alec Flynn, a 28-year-old comedian in Los Angeles whose material draws from his life as a straight man, said he did not religiously follow Mr. Piker, but he understood the appeal of Mr. Piker's brand of masculinity. Quote, the more authentically yourself you are, the more effective you will be, said Mr. Flynn, who is also in a college fraternity. At the end of the day, he said, people like frat bros. Do they? Am I out of touch? Do people like frat bros? Is that true? That seems like a very broad statement. I mean, maybe it's true. I don't know if it might be true. Ethan Klein was pretty upset about this article, was posting some reactions on Instagram, and then Hasan caught wind of those reactions.
What is this? Meanwhile, Ethan's New York Times debut? What? Yeah, apparently Ethan is not very happy about this. He is very upset that I got this article written.
It just seems like to me that there's an epidemic of like journalists and writers that are doing these opinion pieces about Hasan and interviewing Hasan, and it just seems like a lot of them are not super familiar with his actual politics, which is to say, you know, like he is a tanky, like he's a self-avowed tanky. I don't think he really even tries to hide it that much. Like he comes out and just openly says that his intention is to present as more kind of like progressive and then to radicalize people through agitative propaganda in order to pull them into a socialist kind of framework, right? Like that's kind of his whole outwardly stated goal.
And he's been posting about it. He's been posting about it since like 6 a.m. our time, which I think is a crazy thing to do when you first wake up. Like I first woke up and I posted about the article because, you know, it's the article that I was waiting for. I was waiting for it to come out. It's been a long time. The article took place a long ass.
There's also like, if you just search hasanabi Ethan Klein, they make it seem as though like Ethan is the one that is like daily obsessing about Hasan, and Hasan is kind of like above all that. But if you just go to YouTube and search hasanabi Ethan Klein and then filter it in the last month, there is no shortage of videos of Hasan talking about Ethan Klein. Like this goes both ways. This absolutely goes both ways. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going.
It's odd for him to wake up and also post nonstop. Literally nobody says that except those paid by his publicist. As a recent 2 minutes ago on a multi-story Insta rant, his fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Piker or Joe Rogan to the left, and Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. Literally nobody says that except those paid by his publicist. I don't have a publicist. My haters can't tell me you're not hot, bro. Jewelry and nail paint, this dude is different.
It is kind of like crazy to me, this whole idea of like, yeah, well, you know, like at least I'm hot. I just, you know, I guess if he was like in like the fitness space, that would really matter. But if you're in the political space, you know, and you're out there like fighting for your ideas in the political space, and you say something like, well, at least, you know, at least my haters can't say that I'm not hot, is just kind of, I don't even know what to say about that.